Marsha.
Marsha.
Good, there we go. Jim and Anna Marsha's home is what we're
Yes. So Marsha is Jim's sister, and and who is the other person's name? But he was married to the other woman. So we go there, and they have kids also, which we're not going to name because we're not going to talk about them very much. But their kids were seeing things. When it comes to kids seeing entities, at least in this first house, it's hard because kids have an active imagination.
It's hard because you want to prioritize. It's hard because kids do have an imagination. Kids can make up stuff to get attention. When we've ran into that many times on investigations. But it's also hard because if something really is happening, you really want to go there and help the kid.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to prioritize it, like you were saying.
When there's kids involved, it makes you, I got like a soft spot for it.
Yeah, it takes priority over any other investigation.
The kids are more in tune as well.
Well, that's true, too.
Kids are more in tune.
You sit there,
pets, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You sit there and you're like, is this kid watched
too many,
Conjuring before he went to bed, and then saw these crazy things?
And that's the thing is like, I was actually there was I think I deleted the email. We got an email today about a clown, and I think it was like, oh my god, they're seeing clowns in their house, and the movie It just came out. But they thought it was a clown ghost.
Okay.
But that was solely not me. Because it was probably solely because of the movie came out and some kid was making up some stuff.
Yeah. So basically, we go investigate, and the kids are why we're there. And then we quickly realize that Jim is covered in tattoos. I think we've talked about this before.
We have,
vaguely.
Head to toe. Head to toe tattoos.
Head to toe tattoos. But it's not just tattoos aren't bad. Like in general, yeah. There's a little twist to it. He's covered in Necronomicon demonic symbols.
What the?
Yeah.
Boom! There it is.
So,
like literally,
majority of them are
symbols
that way.
Head to toe. I mean, 666, 999,
multiple
pentagrams.
Like,
I mean, everything I've ever seen on Necronomicon. Like, I can't even think of it.
Not even.
James,
like I said, we talked about this before. I did some research on Necronomicon, and it's definitely an interesting belief system. But there's just this guy was just covered in them. I mean, his face was
face
tattoos, chest, back, leg.
Swastikas.
Yeah,
he's not getting a real-time job anytime soon.
So basically, what happened? The story, basically what happened and why he went this crazy route is the church got involved, took him and his sister away from his biological mom and put them in like an orphanage home, foster care. Basically.
So the church did this.
The church did this.
Not like the parents or the state. It was the church.
So
this
basically,
was prior to him when he was still a kid. Then.
Yeah, he was a child.
He was a child,
and this was his first memory of the church, taking him away from his family.
So can you imagine that being your first memory? You're like, I don't want to go to church. Last time I went to church, they took my mom and dad away.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean. And
so basically, the mom reached out saying
he hated the church.
Yeah, reached out saying we need some help, and then the church
was like,
pastor went there and said this is awful and called CPS and got the kids taken away.
Holy
so
put into orphanage of the church.
Yeah, it was something. It was foster home care basically. Yeah. So that was pretty much why he took the 1% crazy route of finding this
satanic worship.
Yeah, this Necronomicon belief.
Necronomicon, right?
Yeah.
I got Jamism. Damn it.
They're contagious.
Yeah. Jason's got it.
Continue.
So we went and investigated their home, and this kid described seeing. Now this has been years ago, and it was pretty elaborate. So forgive me for forgetting some of the details.
It's okay.
But we'll
still listen.
Yeah. So basically, the lower half of this entity was like a spider. I don't know if you quite remember either.
It was the lower half of the spider.
And
the goat on top?
It was like a female goat and then later on, like, we had him go into more detail. Like, we kept asking him questions, and it turned out this this had like a raincoat on, and we started like,
What?
Dude,
Yeah, it got really weird, and then we were like, okay, this is probably the kid's imagination.
Yeah.
But this was like our second or third investigation there as well, and we hadn't been getting very much. So, and they weren't satisfied with, not necessarily satisfied with us and our investigations.
No. They wanted more results.
Yeah, well, they wanted to make sure, because a combination of his tattoos and the kids and what they were seeing. And I get it. Even though we weren't finding evidence or anything to support what they said were going on, they still wanted to be for sure. And they wanted the church to come do a blessing.
Yes.
And I pretty much said, you need to get your Insane Clown Posse posters off the wall and take down all these books that you have. And
about satanic worship.
Yeah.
Why?
And I said, yeah.
Yeah, this is everywhere, dude. We walked in.
And you need to basically be wearing a sweatshirt, long sleeve shirt, and pants.
Turtleneck.
Yeah, turtleneck. And he looked at me, he's like, why? I'm like, there's no priest in his right mind that's going to
walk
walk in here and help you out without knowing much of you. Unless you go to the church and they know you. Do you go to church? No. Okay, so you should do everything I just said. And basically, I think a priest came out and helped him out. I'm not for sure if he was home or not.
I am not for sure.
That part I didn't really, I don't remember.
But the story does get better.
Yeah, so basically we heard about him and we talked to Jim about his stuff. But we walk away. And because they got the church involved and they said they had a priest come out and do a blessing in the home. So we're like, all right, you let us know if you need our help again. They never reached out for a while, and then they did.
It was about a year or two later, I think, wasn't it?
I think it was about 2.
About 2 years?
Yeah. And basically they're in a completely different house outside of Lafayette. In the middle of nowhere, really. I mean, just the country. I really couldn't even tell you where they're at. I know between or where they might be at.
I don't know now.
It doesn't matter.
Out in the sticks.
Basically, yeah. But so they contact us, and we go there, and
we won't go into that part.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But there was some situations going on, which is part of the reason why we didn't go back. But anyway, we're investigating there, and we talked to him more about his tattoos, and we're seeing more of them. He's showing us more of them, and it's just crazy. I mean, he had multiple 666s. He had like this whole circle of just weird. Well, it wasn't just that. It was just like weird tattoos, but it was in a weird circle formation. So
was it like a pentagram?
Or No. It was just a circle, but it had different symbols meaning different things. Kind of like a clock has numbers,
right?
But it were symbols, and I don't know what they meant. And I mean, he had like I don't even quite remember.
He had face tattoos. He had 666 on the back of his neck.
Yeah. So and he had them on his arm and wrist.
But more like now, let's jump ahead a little bit.
So he went to the church.
Yeah.
Is this where you were wanting to go?
Yes.
Okay. So he went to the church and started going to church quite often. And the church was actually paying for him to get laser removal surgery.
Wow, that shit's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But that goes to show that he was trying to do the right thing.
Right.
No, absolutely.
And that's always a good sign. That's always positive. So it was just one of those things. It was good to see that route of things. But also, I did some research on Necronomicon. I want to try to speed through it because it's a weird.
We got time.
Well, basically, Necronomicon. If you've never heard of it, and if you have, it's probably because you love the H.P. Lovecraft board games.
Yes.
Oh, so another board game.
Yeah. So
come check out the link that I just posted on our Facebook page.
Nice.
And you can buy it at Toys R Us probably because that's where you can buy it.
Well, there's
aisle 8 instead of 6.
So basically, there's a ton of H.P. Lovecraft novels.
I don't know who that is.
It's basically
so who is? Can you explain that? Who it is?
He's an author. Basically, he created books about Cthulhu. Like all these Cthulhu.
Okay, that's how you just say it again.
Yeah, basically it's a whole monster series.
It's a fiction.
Yeah,
fiction. Okay.
Fiction. Think of it. What's that one movie that was? God, why can't I think?
Wow, you just let me narrow that down for you.
Anyway, no, it doesn't matter. There's a really crazy movie out there. It was a Stephen King movie. It was really good. It was about monsters and fog and all that stuff. But maybe. I think it was The Mist.
Smart ass.
I think it was The Mist.
Did I
It's a
just
really
nail
crazy
it?
movie.
You're welcome.
Good movie, but crazy. But along those lines, there was big monsters that came
Yes.
through a portal and all these
Yes,
things.
yes.
The same concept with H.P. Lovecraft.
For the book you're talking about.
For the book and all his novels he wrote. And one of them, when you get really in depth into it and you really dive into the novels, he talks about Necronomicon summoning Cthulhu and doing all these crazy things. And actually, he got the idea from an actual
From a legitimate book.
From a legitimate book that was made a long time ago.
I'm going to look for something as you go.
No, you're fine. It was made a long time ago. And it was made before even Christianity was a thing. I think it was like 700 A.D.
Yeah, I think you said it was
something like that.
Yeah.
I forget now how they're actually labeled A.D. and whatever. I don't know. They've changed it. But it was made clear back then. And it was made by an Al-Hazir, I believe his name was. I could be wrong.
James,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Photobomb.
Anyway, so he was a Muslim, got kind of kicked out of his religion, and made this new one.
What?
He was kind of in between his Muslim beliefs and other stuff, but basically roamed the desert for a really long time. And back in those days, that was basically suicide. Because you're thinking 700 BC, means before you really knew how the world worked, you know, what shapes the world were, and the desert was endless, basically, because you didn't have a way to really go through it very well. But, so he came back, wrote this crazy-ass book called, it was Necronomicon. It was something, it was labeled something different then, because it was a whole different language. And about after Christianity, or right when Christianity was being created, a Greek philosopher or writer found this translation and retranslated it from Hebrew into, I believe, Latin. It was either Latin or some other language. I think it was some other language. I don't quite remember what it was, but he rewrote it in their language. And then it got picked up again by another writer about 1500, in about the 15th century or 16th century.
Wow.
And rewrote again in Latin. That's what it was. And that's the current version that's out. And there's like 5 books that only survived from the 15th century because of the book
books?
burning.
Yeah, the big book
because of the
burning.
burnings of books. And that was one of those books that was really sought after by the church to burn. Because it was obviously,
and that's kind of weird because the church, they actually, during that time frame, they you have plenty of cord there, but during that time frame they were trying to eliminate all the other religions essentially. So that's why they were burning. My mic's just but that's why they were doing it, because they were picking up different books and everything, just literally destroying history.
Mass burnings. You know, you had a pile of books that they just lit on fire.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But basically, in this Necronomicon, there's not a lot out there because there's only so many books of it. There's only like 5, like I was saying, 5 books, and they're in universities. I believe Harvard has one, Oxford or somewhere around there has one. A couple other places have one. But they tried to translate it into English, and I guess it failed. The guy, something happened. I don't know, but it just never got finished. A couple pages were done, but it just never got finished. But basically, H.P. Lovecraft read this book, and then got his idea about this whole series, and then built that into his whole series. So summoning rituals and all these things are from the book.
So some of it's legit, some of it's a total
Well, I mean, I haven't
Well, I
read
mean,
it,
yeah,
so
some
I'm
of
not
it.
for sure. You know, you don't know if he just said, well, this is probably a bad idea to go for beta.
I would say I have read it, but I don't read anything.
You know, I'm not
I can't
going
read
to put
Hebrew.
a summoning spell for Balaam in my book, but I'll make a version of it. You know,
Oh,
who
yeah.
knows if that still can do stuff, but
Well, I
that's
mean-
literally the people that follow Necronomicon after doing this follow a board game or books like that. They don't realize. I don't know if they realize
it. I
it.
mean, it's getting back to like the Ouija board aspect of things. That is just a board game. Like we talked about earlier on the show, it's a board game made by Hasbro.
Yes.
Or whoever makes those nowadays. I
For
don't know.
ages 6 and up.
For ages, yeah. You can only summon demons when you're 6 years old. Weird.
Yeah.
For 2 or more players.
But it's just the thing. It's weird to think that's how they relate that. But and then something so evil can come from the Ouija board, or in some experiences that I've had.
If you're doing it wrong, yeah.
Well, you're doing it wrong or right in some cases, because some people may want to do that.
Yeah.
They may use that for a lot of rituals.
It just goes to show.
I don't know. I don't do rituals every Saturday.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just goes to show we're talking about earlier how you can take anything and make it awful or evil, or they
anything
made
and everything.
This book was just a story. It was just fiction. Like it's supposed to be just a fun book that you read that scares you. Yeah. And this group was like, oh, hey, let's make a cult following out of this. And it's like, it's just a book. It is loosely based off of a real book that you'll never get your hands on and really understand what it truly is, because I bet it's awful.
Also true.
But, these people are following something a guy read a book of and made his own book series off of it. And then board games.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that when we're talking about religion. And here in the good old state of Indiana, anything can be a religion.
Yeah, we have marijuana religion.
Then we have
we have a Church of Satan.
Yeah. I think Florida has that.
I think that's in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, they could have grown and expanded.
Maybe they made an art.
But we do have a marijuana
We're
church.
able to get some FEMA funding for that.
They honestly wanted to put.
I have no word for that.
You're welcome.
There was literally a petition made because there's some religion in school, not a lot, but there's some, and they petitioned like, if these religions are allowed to be in school, we should be able.
Why can't we?
We should be able to put some of our stuff for Satanism.
Crazy? I don't know.
Well, I mean, honestly, they have a point, even
They
though
do
it
have a
is
point.
fucking awful. If you're gonna let some in, you gotta let them all in, or
Well, yeah,
you just
but-
don't do it fucking at all.
A pencil has a point. I'm just saying.
Well,
It does when you sharpen it.
you're supposed to have. You can't even say God in the Pledge of Allegiance anymore.
Yeah, I know that's
You
stupid.
can't.
So that's how far they're trying to separate it.
They do it again.
Do they?
We would do that, Jeff.
Well, some do,
Yeah, we
some
do.
don't. I mean, some don't even teach evolution.
That's true.
Fucking boggles my mind. Like,
Kevin's mom's listening right now. Like, that was 3 F words.
There's a quarter. There's a 50 cents.
I've been drinking, mother.
Oh, and now he's drinking. Oh, great. What a good son.
Just had some apple juice.
Nailed
It'll be
it.
all right.
He was at a wedding, allegedly.
Oh.
Hey, I'm pretty dressed up. I got a tie and everything. I look nice.
It's actually a real tie, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, I tied
I
it
used
It's not a
myself.
zip tie.
I use the zipper ties.
Tied it myself.
You tied it
Ah,
yourself.
impressive. I can't even tie my own tie.
It was YouTube.
I tried that shit and still didn't work.
I did it in a van. Impressive.
Oh.
Impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am very impressed. Now, and you notice as we kind of touched on this, as we go to places like Waverly Hills, we go to the Missouri State Penitentiary, and this has really happened a lot down at the Ferry Plantation. Groups go in and they try to do rituals and putting symbols everywhere, and they end up either catching the place on fire or doing something stupid.
Yeah.
That really grinds my gears when somebody does that.
It's just a bad look. It gives a bad name for.
And we're already fishing in the paranormal world for a good name.
Yeah. It's tough.
Because we don't want to see everybody. But 90% of the Americans only see paranormal because of the TV shows.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hollywood.
And
welcome.
even then,
For the same reason about the Ouija board.
That's true.
even then, now it's becoming far and fewer in between. TV shows. I mean, you have Destination America, which
Yeah.
like is
Travel
just,
Channel's coming out with one.
They're coming out with another one.
Yes, they are.
Oh, they are. Oh, I didn't know that. But they have their one big one. Ghost
Yeah, I was
Adventures.
just making sure the fire trucks weren't pulling up to here for some reason.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, when the fire trucks come here,
Well,
they come.
you should have got
Yeah.
a notification, right?
Yes,
can't.
he should have. Oh,
Oh,
we're using his
no.
phone.
It should pop up.
I mean,
Have we got any questions? Anyone ask anything?
No.
no.
No. Okay. Anyway, thanks for listening. You just break my heart a little bit. It's all right. Thanks for listening.
Oh,
Anyone listening who will have any questions and is on the app, just hit us up.
I got you. Hey.
But and that's the thing is, and we were talking about around Indiana how there's a lot of weird stuff, and there's a lot of weird stuff in different states. I've researched some of the occult groups and everything that like you got some in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
You know, that like I call them mountain men, but that's not their technical term or their satanic group term.
Probably not.
But that's just what I refer to them
That's
as.
just that's a television show.
But if there are some, I went hiking one time. This is completely random. Yes, I used to hike. I was
That
in
was
shape.
a long time ago, wasn't it?
I was in shape, believe it or
when
not.
you didn't have the beard.
No.
Yeah.
No beard.
No.
No beard.
He was like 20.
True. Is that another fire truck?
Yes.
That's okay. But you go into these caves and it looks like cave drawings or everything like that, but it's just like people's altars.
Yeah.
So that's another big thing, like a big symbol for people are altars. People have sacrificed people and other things.
Making me really nervous.
Yeah. That's 6 fire trucks where nobody's pulling into our parking lot, are they?
Not yet.
Okay, good. Oh,
Well, we
okay.
might have to stop the show
Well,
if they
yeah,
pull
yeah,
it.
it's
But
okay.
anyway, we'll keep going.
Yeah. But, so what do you guys think about altars?
An altar can actually be made out of anything. You know that.
Exactly. It could be a
Yeah,
table.
Ask a
You can-
question with that.
You can literally go into, because if we touched on this, remember? You can go into, when we did witchcraft, you can go into the woods and
A tree stump would be an
original
altar.
altar.
But you
was
gotta
a tree
think-
stump.
An altar is also, I consider it a symbol because most occults, they have to have a sacrifice place or whatever they do to do their
It's their workshop.
rituals.
Yeah, but not all altars are for
Bad stuff.
bad shit.
I went stuff, you went shit. Okay.
Same thing.
You say
But what I was looking for earlier, as you guys saw me go around the office, I was looking for that little medallion that was given us with the human
Oh,
hair.
that-
Do you know where it is?
Bam!
It's not.
I know where everything
it's not
is.
in the safe.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
God, that hurt a lot. Anyway, so while he's doing that, you could have got a nice shot there. Look at that. But don't twerk, man.
Oh, it is.
Hey,
Oh.
Do not question me.
It didn't
I
take
didn't.
very long.
I took it out of there.
Hey, you should.
Yes, I know you took it out of there, and I put it back.
You should.
Kofi, where are you going?
I'm leaving. That thing
You put this.
Kofi, where are you going?
You put this. You realize where you had this, right? You literally had this.
Come on, Kofi.
There goes Kobe. Kobe
He
just left the
literally,
building.
it's just one little ritual piece that we're giving us.
Are you
Bye,
listening?
Kofi.
You literally had this on the top of a box of strobe lights,
Yeah, I know.
and I was like, no.
That's how you. That you want
That's
to.
how you lose stuff. We got some.
You want to know how you get ants? That's how you get ants.
So, everybody who's watching right now, this was something that was given to us.
There's an update on that too, by the way.
Oh.
Oh, you don't know?
No.
Oh well, let me update you. A few
Hold on,
days.
wait, hold on,
Well,
stop
let-
out.
yeah,
Oh.
let's go
Let's
ahead.
get
and
the
just
backstory.
explain.
So
Yeah.
this
Backstory
was
there.
given to us by one of our people.
Makeup artist. You're welcome.
It's all right.
I was
It's,
just
no
saying.
names were given.
Jesus Christ, Jason, let me do this.
Book.
And so it was given to us. They found it in the place they live, and the previous
recently
tenants,
moved in.
the previous tenants were known to do different aspects of satanic worship and stuff like that. So this is actual human hair. We did some tests on it, some burn tests to see how it burnt and everything. But that's
Basically-
it. So we don't know if it was linked to a ritual, if it was linked to anything, but it was given to us. You can see. I'll do a little close up so you can see what it is.
So real quick, for the people that haven't listened or heard this before, what's the difference if you burn plastic hair and real hair?
Plastic will melt, and,
And real
then
won't.
real hair will singe.
Yeah.
Cinch. Okay.
Yeah. So that is the big differences there. So not many people have held this, and there's some weird stuff. As you can see, Kofi left the room.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
We bring weird shit all the time. He doesn't leave
Yeah,
the
but
room.
it's this thing he leaves the room with. He does not like it, as he literally walked out.
I think he's having a sick. Stress sick.
It's a good, you know.
Yeah, it's okay though. But okay, Jason. Now to the update.
Now to the update. So, update is a few days ago, the individual that handed that to you
Yeah.
in the same area found more human hair
Where?
in
The same area of
in
the corner of the yard.
in the
That was me. Sorry.
in the
Chair moving.
no, he actually found that in the yard, but he's also found other things in a bedroom closet, in the corner of a closet. Candle wax. He found some of the hair. I don't know if it's tied to that or not, but he found more hair. And then they were just telling me today that they had an episode
What's the episode?
where they woke up after having a vivid dream, and there was something that was gleaming over the top of him. What was that?
That was James.
That was the gleam?
Yeah.
It wouldn't go.
So this is a classic upside down pentagram.
Yes.
This is a classic version of an evil
With the-
or an
With the goat?
well, I mean, just disregard that. It's only for more, to give more stigma to it.
Yeah.
But
Not yet, Kofi. It's still
yeah,
out.
it's still out. No, but this is a classic sign of it being evil or being
An evil.
built to be created for
For
negative reasons. Now, let's say this part right here, this loop right here, where the necklace could go,
Was flipped.
was up here, then it would be used for positive. I mean, take away the goat head, take away all that. I mean, this is a means of protection from
Right.
spirits.
It actually was. In the earlier days, it was a means of protection.
I mean, the church, Catholic Church, used this before they adopted
Before
the
the cross.
Before the cross, yeah. So, and then once they established the cross, then they said, "Oh, well, this is just evil. All pagans use this."
Now it's used for evil purposes. It's shunned.
just the whole thing is just bad. It's negative. But yeah, so that's just one. We have it here. It's nice to show, give
Oh, wow.
examples.
There's
That's where all the
a
fire trucks
police-
were going.
The police notice between 18th and 19th Street. There's a structure fire. That's right by us. That's weird.
Yeah, green bush. It's like
That's
That's
literally
like-
right there.
literally right there, right.
Wow.
Right down the
well,
street.
Hopefully everything's safe or nothing's. Maybe this got it on.
Maybe that's the house.
You're right. Something happens every time.
Maybe
we
that's
do
the
that.
house that was at.
That's weird.
Because aren't they close? Aren't they nearby?
Yeah. That's weird. All right, we'll put that up.
What's the matter?
We'll update you next week.
But it's something simple as that, like a star, like this pentagram star. I just flipped upside down table. I'm gonna end my Facebook Live now.